In our local LETS system we use in Golden Bay, called HANDS, we replaced government funding for programs that have been cancelled up and down the country. Every other community said, oh, we've lost the funding, we have to let go of our adult education programs. Well, we've got the money. We said, no, we've got the money. So we have better than ever adult education programs now that we run by our local currency.
Laurence, what else can you do with a local currency?
How long is a piece of string?
Oh, no way.
Yeah, that's silly. Oh, well, you can, as I say, you can have a regional one backed by local government, but you can have neighbourhood ones. In our local LETS system we use in Golden Bay, called HANDS, we replaced government funding for programs that have been cancelled up and down the country by our kind new Prime Minister, who used to be an ex-Merrill Lynch investment banker. He cut a lot of programs such as adult education, and in our community, every other community said, oh, we've lost the funding, we have to let go of our adult education programs. Well, we've got the money. We said, no, we've got the money. So we have better than ever adult education programs now that we run by our local currency.
So your local currency, just so people understand sort of the logistics of this, your adult education, you've got Nicole teaching a class on finance, the big picture, right? And now how does Nicole get paid? How does the exchange work? Students come, take her class, they're happy.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Well, we just pay her in local currency. We give her a credit in the system. She can either have it in paper currency or on her electronic account.
Okay.
And she's credited for her tutoring, and the people who come to the course pay in local currency.
Are debited their local currency.
Yeah.
And so what it sounds like, though, is you've got to have things that people really want and need are a part of that local currency. So Nicole can go out and use her credits teaching this class for what kind of things in your community?
A very long list of things in our community, but it could also include going to a local cafe and that some of their staff are willing to take maybe one day a week of their wages in local currency. So then that cafe can say each month we have this much trading we can do in the local currency. And the like. So yeah, it depends on how many people want to use it. We give a credit in our system of 500 hands to each new member that they can use if they want. We encourage people to go through zero, trading up and down, but they can use credit because we trust each other. We are the value system, so and what we have to offer. So that's what our money is based on, is on the people and the things they make and the services they have to share. So we have quite a strong liquidity. We have regular market days. But as I say, there's barter card, you can have local government, there's time banks, LETS systems, there's Bitcoin for people who want to work globally in a more high-tech system. So, you know, Google might print their own dollar in time, you know, Lord forbid, but I believe that the soon-to-be future is just the same as on a smartphone. You'll have multiple applications. On your phone, you'll have multiple currencies, and kids, you know, 10-year-olds will use them as easy as falling off a log.
And it's just going to be the norm.
It's just going to be the norm. And I believe that whole new platforms for collaboration will make centralised government, in many ways, obsolete within 5 to 10 years. That's my prediction. Because we don't, either a centralised agency provides a service we want, or they should really just get out of the way. And that'll take them a little while to get used to, but if people can do it themselves, it's an age of self-responsibility and peer-to-peer. Like I belong to savings pools that are peer-to-peer finance systems that we save together as a club, and then you can use money from the pool, interest-free. Most of the currencies I deal with are all interest-free. We really don't like the usury component. We can't afford
Well, that's part of the old model. It's the old growth model, right? And it's why we are in such a mess, because all of that, need for interest is a growth-based piece.
To pay the interest on the money, on the credit.
The growth imperative gets you into a great deal of trouble. That's really how we end up expanding irresponsibly to the point where we are completely overstretched and over-consuming our natural capital absolutely all the time. So we've just taken this to a greater extent than previous episodes, but we've had boom and bust before.
Sure.
Going all the way back to antiquity. The human history at the scale of civilization is a history of boom and bust, the rise and fall of empire. So this isn't new, but this time we turbocharged it with fossil fuels. So we climbed to higher heights. We created that much more complexity in our systems and that much more reach than bubble systems had before. But it is a very similar thing that we've done before. We just took it to a greater extent. So our overreach has been greater. And we would expect, therefore, the problems when the larger system starts to hit limits to be more significant than they have been in episodes in the past.
Right.
So all the more need for us to take matters into our own hands to redesign the system from the bottom up so that we can navigate this period. Otherwise, it's going to hurt.
And also, being able to create your own monetary systems when the other ones collapse, it allows for people to get entrepreneurial and innovative to meet the new parameters of doing business and meeting your needs. And so people can get going and into all the new technologies in the local food industries and creating new energy systems and new whole systems of running their society if they have to. People can get into that straight away. They don't have to wait in a lag, because you know if you produce something useful to the new paradigm, and that you can trade that for food or services that you need. So people can just get going. And that's why I like hubs as well. There's a lot of hubs aren't just good for bringing to people, and you can have a hub at some libraries are becoming hubs for all sorts of things now. Some libraries are running tool libraries and things like that as well. And that's exciting. But also these kind of maker space. In New Zealand we call them men's sheds, or they can be women's sheds, but more a combined maker space.
Men's shed?
Men's shed, retired.
Women's shed? Okay, I just want to...
Well, they were places for carpentry and light engineering, but it could be also like industrial sewing or the like, but a whole range of things where people can come together and be making useful stuff or repairing things.
So I understand. So it's like a place, a physical place, where you could do woodworking or
with
canning foods
with
donated equipment. All right, and you rent or you barter, you whatever the exchange, the space and the tools and all that to do what you. Okay, a shared space for some particular activities.
You don't have to pay to use the space. The space is simply available for people who want to, say, retired people who want to come and repair bicycles for the community.
And share skills, a great place to share skills and come together. And in harder economic times, it'll be easier to find some warehouse space and the like. But you can build kit-set barns in a spare lot as well. And people love this. And retired people who have so much to offer, who are sitting there wondering what to do, can then connect with younger people, share skills and come together.
So there's no more throwaway people.
I was going to say, that's the part. It's like our culture doesn't, thinks that the wisdom and the skills that older people have, it's all about youth, which is only true in this consumer culture or this advertising-based corporate consumer culture. But many of those senior people, ourselves included, will have there's skills, there's techniques on how do you do those things effectively or very well. That's no throwaway people. I like that.
Yeah,
that's Laurence's line.
That's good.
Well, it was the title of the book by Edgar Kahn, who was kind of the father of time banking, and that was the name of his book. And he identified. And I've seen things where people have, in one place in Kaitaia in New Zealand, where they've got a lot of unemployed youth, and they brought them together for a regular sort of gifting your time day, once a day a week, to try and just get them away from apathy and hanging around home and into contributing, which is part of what you don't have when you're poor, is the richness of giving. And there were a couple of surfer dudes, and they thought, well, now we've got this mobilised workforce, maybe we could address it to some exciting formal projects. And one they came up with was getting people who were stuck in wheelchairs out having a day surfing. And
Surfing.
you're surfing, which you need a lot of people when you've got a paraplegic being dished out in a wave and a tumble to get them out again in a hurry. And you can read it on surfing.co.nz, and the people who were getting out surfing were having the best day in a long time, and the people who were giving to that felt so nourished and nurtured and uplifted, and a whole new awareness about themselves and what they can contribute and give. And so
the picture you paint for me is a world in which money isn't sitting here like this, but by sort of breaking that down and saying, because we've got a lot of throwaway young people here too. I mean, as the employment
60% unemployment. There's a whole generation being shut out of everything. And people who are shut out of things end up causing trouble because there's just nothing for them to do. Right now, young Spaniards and Greeks are going to work in Germany, for instance, but eventually that safety valve won't be there as more and more countries get into similar sorts of difficulties. So that's really when it's going to get that much more vital to get young people involved in doing real things that matter, that give them their pride back and use their skills.
Yes, I'm thrilled.
And so what's an exciting possibility I see, I'm a great fan of Michael Schumann's book, which is just out this year, Local Dollars, Local Cents. It's a winning template for America for how you can revolutionize things and start local stock exchanges, all the cooperative models, which I've been a keen fan of for a long time, all these different models. And cooperatives can be used both for running businesses, but also consumer cooperatives can be massively powerful. And people always go, oh, we don't have the power, or they complain about something they don't like. And if you find through different networks, like in New Zealand, we've got two main environmental organisations. They complain a lot about our dairy, our farming industry, but they have 75,000 collective members. If they could go and buy their own farms and run them their own way with 75,000 people.
Sure.
And if you have millions of people, it's like there's a lot of complaint about the Bayer at the moment in Syngenta and the pesticides that are killing bees, and people are saying we want to send a petition to them asking them not to try and repeal the ban. But if 1 million people using a vase all put in $20 each, you've got $20 million, 20 bucks. Throw it in, hire some big gun lawyers and sue the pants off Bayer, sue them out of existence, go and ask for claim the cost. People, the new age of using the power of collectivism and shared values really needs to be taken to the next level. We have the power. We maybe the meek already have inherited the earth, but we're just kind of dithering around a bit like meek people do. So time to get going. This is an exciting age, and I see so much potential in America. You travel through, and I've been really inspired by the American people, especially on the West Coast, how much they appreciate.
It's a hot place. It's a lot of creativity.
It's great.
We should say we haven't been east yet.
We look forward to that.
It's happening there too.
Of course it is. It's happening everywhere.
And it's happening quietly. Do you know? It's like not everybody's trumpeting it, but you walk into what we found. We were just in Victoria, and we found just a street with the same kind of stories of people. We shared a coop co-op. I mean, several people now having chicken coops because so. You wouldn't necessarily hear everything trumpeted about, but I think that shift is happening.
It's bubbling up everywhere.
That people need to know is that these are creative responses to the kind of contraction that our generation hasn't lived with.
Yes, so these things move out of living memory, and then people forget what happened the last time. We are terrible at learning the lessons of history as human beings. So this has happened so many times before, but we don't remember what happened last time, what got us into trouble, what trouble looked like when it arrived, and what people did back then to deal with it. So we have an opportunity at the moment, because of the enormous amount of information we have access to. We can learn all those lessons. We can go back and find out exactly what happened, and we can learn those lessons and apply them. So we can be proactive. We don't have to wait for something to go wrong and then think, now what do we do? And then it's so much harder to deal with the problem if you wait until you're in the thick of it.
Yes.
Because people are just not in a very constructive mindset at that point. Deal with it proactively when we still have access to resources. That gives us time to build alternative systems before we have to get them to the point where we can rely on the results. So that's
and
gonna
the
be
thing
important.
is that whether for in good times or bad, or as a matter of resilience and survival, but this makes us better equipped for that. But it also makes us at any time live in happier, healthier, more connected communities, the kind of places we want to live in, and the kind of world we want to live in. So it's an ultimate win. But there's this real potential, following on from Michael Schuman's stuff on all these different new economic models for building strong regional economies. And that's all important, because we need economic power. We can't just take it to the decision makers or hope to change the political system. That we must be our own economic powerhouses, and this new collaborative thinking, which flies in the face of the values we've been force-fed for 40, 50 years of the free market, dog-eat-dog nonsense. That as we tap this power, what can't we do? Now, in America, there's a massive health crisis. People can't afford health care. A lot of people eat completely degenerative food. A lot of people don't. And the explosion of healthy local food businesses, which provides a safe place for people to put their money, because so many people are worried about whether their savings are going to be cut by the banks, or the Wall Street's going to go over, the great planet-killing Ponzi scheme that is Wall Street. And if people take their money and put it somewhere useful, like into these new local food industries, so from the production, strengthening the farmers and the producers, and syndicated purchasing and running of farms through the processing, the logistics and moving it into the urban distribution, that's a whole economic powerhouse waiting to unfold. And so people just need to start taking their money from the sick system, putting it in there, and people are going to feel a whole lot better.
And be healthier and happier, and say, well, the contraction taught us a lot, or we created a lot from out of that.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm a lot more hopeful, and I already was hopeful, but that's good. You've got, good stories here. Thank you for joining me, Laurence, Nicole.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, we can live better. Now, we need to get to work to do it, right? Everywhere. People are
doing things,
Yes. You're watching Peak Moment. I'm Janaea Donaldson, Nicole Foss, Laurence Boomert. Thank you for joining me.